Good morning, guys. I am here in my June hotbed greenhouse, and what you see behind me is peas that have just aged. They still have really yummy, I think these are sugar snaps, but they might be snow peas. Still sweet, not fibrous at all. Absolutely wonderful. We've been using them cooking, snacking. It was only about a 2-foot by 4-foot bed here of peas, but they have kept us in peas since the beginning of May. But you can see the color has started to turn. You see underneath here, I have some dark green pea plants still, but these have started to turn, so I started to pull them, and then I thought, oh, I should show you. I don't know if I have any more. See them? That's how you know they're ready to just come up and feed rabbits, as they turn a little bit white. Oh, and there goes the dogs. So you can see I still have some very green plants, but the white ones are ready to go. Here's the rest of the greenhouse. We're still eating out of it, and anything that's gone to seed goes to rabbits or goats. This stuff is huge. And I don't know if this is broccoli, but that's what I'm using it for. See that? Isn't that pretty? I've just been using it as broccoli. It could be an Asian green and I could be doing it wrong, but it's delicious. And here's my kale, super happy. The reason is I just have an open conduit for the wind to go through. I don't have any kind of fan in here. I leave it open at night. It just blows through, and whatever survives, survives. But I wanted to show you guys that this is truly a 4 seasons garden, because this has warm plants in it as well as cold plants. Let's see if I can find them for you. This is a tomato, and I don't see any tomatoes on it right now, but there's another one here buried underneath all of these pea vines that does have tomatoes on it. And so I just plant really thick, and I pull out what's ready to go to rabbits, and we pull out the food. You can see we got lots of peas. That's pretty much how I do it. I just leave it open, fully open, once we get into summer, and I don't worry about whether or not it needs something else. I just come out and harvest. I have my automatic watering system. Where's my hose? Like this. Sorry if I'm going back, because my battery's about to die. I have the 4-way set up to soaker hoses. And so when it's time to water, we just turn on one spigot, one pump, and it comes all the way out, and it just waters, and we set a timer. And it's happy, and I can smell my herbs in here somewhere. I just can't see them. I need to get some more of these peas out. Now remember, I do have a front garden planted that I planted in April. This one was planted like in February, January, February. But the one in the front was planted in April, and we are harvesting out of that as well now. It has peas, all the greens that we have here. It has zucchini and potatoes. This is just the garden that I generally feed my family out of. The other garden is more of a backup system. It's okay, Mama. All right, so what made me think of this today is that I got a little mama who met me at the door and told me she really needed some bedding material because she's about to have her babies. So I brought her some of this, but I'm probably going to get her some hay first, because I don't really want her making bedding material out of pea vines. These are a little too moist for bedding, but she's doing her bedding thing, and I don't want to distract her, so I'll probably actually go get her some more newspaper. As you can see, we make our nest boxes out of clear Tupperware, and she'll just jump inside the box and outside the box. I need to get her some more newspaper, so I'm not going to feed her this right now. I'm going to feed everybody else. You want to make sure that you're harvesting your greens before they lose their nutritional value. The white ones here have lost most of their nutritional value. You want to go more towards the green color, but I'm going to go ahead and feed some mamas and some babies, and then I'll show you them eating them. This is my biggest batch of babies this year. They're doing really well. I don't have a particular recipe for how I feed my rabbits. I just watch and see how they're doing. If they look a little scrawny, we give them some wormwood to see if it's worms. Right now we have little girls who are working, so we have pellets instead of just hay and grain. So we have pellets, we have grain, we have greens, we have hay, and so they have a really wide variety of food. This is a mama who just had her babies. I don't know if you can see her through the cage, but this is my favorite kind of cage. This is a hostile Hare cage, and I am an affiliate for their cages. I adore their cages. I have not lost any babies to squeezing through or any other kind of problem that would be the cage's fault when raising my bunnies. So I do have the link in the description below. I think they're about $80 a cage. That's what I paid for them when I bought them. And yeah, they're just fantastic. So here I am in front of two more hotbeds. This one has perennial herbs in it, and the other one has lettuce from lettuce that I planted last year that went to seed. But you can see I don't have them planted to any big food stuff. They're not jam-packed full of anything this year because even with a family of 4 to feed, the hotbed greenhouse is keeping everybody fed. Instead of having a lot of food go to waste, instead of trying to hold on to as many animals as I needed to keep up with the food in the hotbeds, instead what I did is this year I cut back on the animals to the point where we aren't needing 3 freezers so that we're getting to the food faster. I only planted 1 hotbed. I left 1 to perennials. I let the other one go to seed, and we are not even using this hotbed for anything. So what I think I'm going to do is put a shade cloth over that and put juvenile rabbits in the hotbeds and protect them from cats and predators, of course. But to put them over there in those hotbeds and let them build them up for winter use so that I can plant them in January. I'm just trying to keep everything low-key because I have a little girl that just started a full-time job. And I'm struggling. I'm struggling emotionally, just not having her here, but I'm also struggling physically to keep up with the pace that I was trying to keep up before she started working. Turns out we didn't need as much food as we were growing, so that's nice. So I love these hotbeds. This one is filled with feed sacks. That's the lining on this one. And an old tarp is the lining on that one behind. And I think this is their 3rd year in use, and they're holding up just fine. And of course, baling twine is what I have it held together with. This one has a 2x4 on the side to hold the 2 pallets together on that long side, and then baling twine on all 4 corners. I do not have any T-posts to stabilize this one. The one in the back is quite a bit longer, and it does have 2 T-posts in it, but for the rest of the construction it's the same. If you're interested in my ebooks on how to build a hotbed, they are at my Etsy store, and I so appreciate all the support for people who buy those PDFs. I think they're like $8, $9 for the PDFs, and then I have one that shows how to build the hotbed greenhouses. I have them in different packages, so thank you for that support. This is what an unwatered hotbed looks like on the inside. It is, I think, 4 years old now, and you can see it has not broken down. I covered it because I needed to take the pallets. The pallets were not good pallets and they were breaking down. And I meant to transfer the inside to a newly built compost hotbed, but I never got to it. I just had it covered with those tarps. And what happened was it didn't shrink, it didn't sink, because a hotbed must be watered in order to stay active. So you can see even eggshells have not broken down. Cardboard has not broken down. So with this hotbed, what I'm doing, because it's at the front of my property, I am just burning it. It doesn't have any plastic or anything in it. And it's dry. It's very, very dry. Again, it's been covered for 4 years and never broke down. So for those of you who built a hotbed according to my videos, you might want to go by the plans, because the plans explain how you keep it watered. My automatic watering system. It's not just a big box full of carbon and nitrogen. It's got to be watered. It doesn't maintain its life. It doesn't maintain bacteria without the right care. So if you're interested in finding out where all my random ideas of homestead adventure came from, go and check out places like Rich Soil and what's the other one? Permies.com. When it came to learning about permaculture, being able to go listen to the podcast from Paul Wheaton over at Permies.com was amazing, because he does book reviews. When I couldn't afford to buy the book myself, I could listen to these reviews that he had of these books that were significant. One of them was Gaia's Garden. I went and bought Gaia's Garden. I think it's by Toby Hemingway. And it told me about guilds and cultures, how to stack your herbs and then your fruit bushes and then your trees, so that you could fit a lot of beneficial plants in one space so that they helped each other, but they also fed you. And they covered the soil and they dropped leaf mold so that you had ground cover. He also talked about roof stout, which is the deep mulch, which you see here. Now I added my own twist to this, in that when I do my deep mulch, I put my animals in on top of it. I found that the deep mulch by itself didn't work for bindweed. But what you see right here is that I fenced in this whole open space where I generally have a problem with bindweed, and I put my sheep in it, and I fed my sheep in this through the winter, and now I don't have bindweed in this area. There's a lot of things on Permies that are a little woo-woo, that don't necessarily show a solution, but what is fun is you kind of get to mix your ideas in with their ideas, and you get to try it out for yourself. Not a lot of the evidence is concrete, but I found that by listening to the podcast and reading the books that Paul recommended, I have been able to create a food system in a high cold desert that is unlike anything that I have seen in my local area. And I don't have to do a lot of work for it. My watering system is automatic. My mulch is deep. And the other thing that Paul taught me back in the day was that you need residual income if you're going to homestead. A lot of times when you're homesteading, you are in remote areas where it's hard to make a living. And so he taught me to do the ebooks. He taught me to do the YouTubing, not by teaching how to do it, but by saying you need to do something. And so here I am now. I don't know anybody else in the area that grows mulberries or these special grapes. And I have sunchokes. I have little leaf linden, I have Chinese haw, I have elderberries. Now everybody else in the area has elderberries too. But I have packed a lot in. I grow a lot of food in a very tiny place. And it's because I learned how to think outside the box, and all of this was paid for with my residual income. So I feel like Paul Wheaton is more of like an ideas man than necessarily a permaculture practitioner. I think he likes to experiment with things. I think he likes to have people in that have interesting ideas, and the world needs that too. Not just people who actually grow the food, but people who think about food and who think about policy and try to bring people together and to have a place where you can exchange ideas. So if you're into that, then you can, I'll put the link in for Rich Soil and for Permies. They are not affiliate codes, so the only thing I'm getting out of this is the $42 that he paid me for the ad, and the fact that it's true that being able to listen to his podcast and read the books that he recommended made me feel like there was hope in the world for me to grow my own food, even if I was in a difficult climate. So hopefully that felt honest and supportive, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later.